And moving on to our daily arts and culture segment, we have our Lee Tae-ho joining me live in the studio. Good afternoon to you, Tae-ho.
Good afternoon.
So it's Wednesday, which means we talk about movies.
Exactly.
So what are the hot films to look forward to this weekend?
Well, there are two fantastic films opening this week. The famous line, 네가 가라 Hawaii, which means, why don't you go to Hawaii? And we get to find out what happens afterwards in the aftermath. Also, the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 come together to form an intricate thriller about revenge. Let's go ahead and take a look.
17 years have passed since Chun-seok murdered his best friend Dong-soo, and now Chun-seok, played by Yoo Sung, has served his time in prison and has been released. Left alone with nothing but memories of the past, Chun-seok is but a shell of his former self, with nothing but the shell of his former power. And that is where the story begins, as he meets Sung-woon, played by Kim Woo-bin, and is thrust back into the world of violence, power, and revenge. But the world and the people that surround him are not all what they seem to be. Who is Sung-woon really? And will Chun-seok be able to rediscover his former glory? Find out in the highly anticipated film Friend 2, directed by Kwak Kyung-taek, opening in theaters tomorrow, the 14th of November. And from one thriller to another, the brand new movie The Five, based on the popular Korean webtoon, follows the story of Euna, played by Kim Seona, who witnesses the brutal murder of her family right in front of her eyes. Barely able to survive, she is paralyzed from the waist down as a result of the vicious crime. She has lost all hope. That is, all but for a lust of revenge against the perpetrator who took so much from her. She is willing to give up all that remains of her body to 5 strangers who become her partners in crime for revenge. The film is directed by the author of the webtoon himself, first-time director Jung Hyun-sik, and is also opening tomorrow.
You know, the Friend movie, the first one, did so well, and it's a really considered a classic here in Korea, and of course, I suppose overseas as well in some parts of the world. But you know, having a sequels never do well. So I'm a little bit fearful for them.
Well, there are probably a lot of people who are very skeptical of a sequel to such a classic movie, but the director, Kwak Kyung-taek, is such a great filmmaker that I highly doubt that this movie is not going to do well at all. And also, considering the anticipation behind this movie, the movie is already one of the top 3 best-selling movies at the box offices right now, which means there's that many moviegoers just looking forward to this, and it's most likely going to be sold out this weekend.
Right, but I'm a skeptic of sequels, and you know, if it does as good as well as the first one, I think that would be more than enough for the sequel.
Exactly. Well, the way they made the whole story 17 years in the future after the first movie itself is an interesting way to do a sequel, because they waited a very long time to make the second part of the movie. So I'm really looking forward to this as well.
Me as well, and I think I will check it out this weekend. Now, since today is our regular movie day, I'm sure you have other hot flicks that you would like to introduce to us.
Exactly. It is movie day, so I have the top 5 movies at the Korean box office. Why don't we go ahead and take a look?
And here we go at number 5 this week with the horror film The Purge, directed by James D. Monaco and starring Ethan Hawke. It's the year 2022 and the time of the annual purge, where any and all crimes, including murder, are legal. When an intruder breaks into the home of James Sandine and his family, it threatens to tear the family apart. Will they be able to make it through the night, or will they become the monsters from which they hide? Find out in The Purge. At number 4 this week, down 1 spot from last week, is the Korean film Accomplices, directed by Kook Dong-seok. Follow the story of Taun, played by Son Ye-jin, who goes to enjoy a movie with friends, only to hear a voice at the end that sounds eerily like her loving father. The only catch? The voice is the only clue to the suspect of an unsolved murder. Will Taun be able to uncover the truth? Find out in Accomplices. And here we go with the top 3 films of the week. In the number 3 spot is Gravity, directed by Alfonso Cuarón and starring George Clooney and Sandra Bullock. This film shows us the vastness of space and what it's like to be alone and drifting in a place where the only means of survival may be the hope of returning home. Follows the story of 2 stranded astronauts as they fight to return to Earth in Gravity. The runner-up this week is a movie that we previewed last week, the Korean film Commitment, directed by Park Hong-soo. Follow the story of Myung-won, played by Choi Seung-hyun, who who is sent to South Korea as a spy and poses as a defector. When the South Korean government discovers his identity, will he make it out alive, or will he follow in the failed footsteps of his father, who was also killed while working as a North Korean spy? Find out in Commitment. And in the top spot for the second straight week, we have none other than Thor: The Dark World, directed by Alan Taylor and starring Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman. In the aftermath of Marvel's The Avengers, Thor faces off against a rival that is older than the universe itself. The ancient race, led by their vengeful leader Malekith, vows to plunge the universe into darkness once again. Can the mighty Avenger Thor conquer a nemesis that not even a legendary king of Asgard could overcome? Find out in the #1 movie of the week, Thor: The Dark World.
So Thor: The Dark World, I mean, I knew that it would top the box office in the first week, but 2 weeks in a row, I really didn't see that coming.
Well, a lot of times here in Korea, with trends moving so quickly that there usually isn't 2 or 3 weeks in a row where a movie hits the top spot. But it just goes to show you the power of superheroes. The movie or era of superhero movies is not over yet. But my rarely used powers of foresight tell me that with Friend 2 being released tomorrow, that will probably be seeing a new #1 movie for next week.
Right, and also we have a very unique movie industry or market here in Korea where Korean local movies do really well on the blockbusters. And I was quite surprised to see only 2 Korean movies being made up to the top 5 this week.
Well, most likely next week, with the release of so many great Korean movies, we'll probably see that rankings change just a little bit. Friend 2 will probably be on top at the #1 spot, as well as the 5 as well. So some are calling this the golden era of Korean movies because the Korean films are just so well made. It's just very popular here in Korea, as well as spreading around the world as well.
Well, one of which we will find out this weekend. All right, Taeho, thank you so much for today. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.